Now, Literature Nobel Prize winner Toni Morrison once said that if there is a book that you want to read but hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. However, how many of us really know how to tell the story and get the story published for all to enjoy? So this morning, we hear from a South African author, Meredith, who really is on her way of telling many stories for the world to read. And she'll be telling us exactly how do you become an author, not only in the South African context, but really globally. And of course, you can participate in our conversation this morning. Remember, we are available on Facebook as well as Twitter. Kim, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for inviting me.
Now, when it comes to the naivety of writing it all, I mean, many of us, I'm sure, are saying, I've got a brilliant idea, I've got a story to tell, and I don't know how to articulate my story and especially make money out of it. So let's start off from the ground basics. I'm thinking of writing something. What do I do?
First of all, look at your motive. If it's because I want to make money, scrap it immediately, because I think writing a best-selling book is like winning the lottery. I'm talking about the big lotteries, not the 1 million, 2 million.
Yeah.
If you look at the statistics, and there aren't reliable statistics available from ebooks, so you've got to rely on the big publishing companies putting onto Amazon, the indie publishers, but then you don't even know if it's fiction or non-fiction.
Yeah.
But basically your odds of writing that, what they call outliers, you know, the Malcolm Gladwell term, where you've invested 10,000 hours, and if you want to write one of those runaway success, make you $1 million, and I'm just talking about $1 million, not the obscene amounts that we do hear about, you have to recognize that it's like your chances of winning the lottery. So when you write because you want to tell the story. Okay. Or you want to share your knowledge, but if your motive is money, I think you're going to be a little disappointed.
All right, now of course, when we're saying we've identified that story now, and then we have to go into the genres and the categories, which is fiction or non-fiction. From there on, I've got the manuscript on me, which is about, let's say, 200 pages. Then what happens?
Okay, the average book is 50, 60, 70,000 words.
Okay.
So
we've got 50, 60, 70,000 words.
Yeah, that's a now manuscript you can submit to the publisher.
Okay.
Or you can publish yourself, or you can send it to Amazon. Or you can go with a small company, you know, so there's a couple of options. It also depends on you. If you are someone who's comfortable doing your own marketing, publicity, selling, speaking, you can publish yourself.
But isn't that expensive, though? I mean, I'm talking about a young person who's probably watching this and thinking, I've got the you know, pen to paper, and I can put something onto it. But to think about an independent publisher or to publish it myself, it sounds like tens of thousands of rands.
It is tens of thousands, don't kid yourself.
Okay.
To get
so then the print runs.
The best, you can get somebody to fund it, but then you're going to have a manuscript that is related to the person who's going to fund it, I would imagine. But I don't know of anyone who's got somebody to fund their private publication. It either goes to Amazon or to the big publishing companies, or you self-publish. But then take a bond out on your house, because that's how much it's going to cost. Now, if you look at the number of I'm talking now hard publishing, so where you produce a book. Okay. If you submit your manuscript to a publisher and it's unsolicited, so they haven't asked you to write, you just send it in. Yeah. You have a chance of 1 in 300,000 of being published. 1 in 300,000. So, but then they fund everything for you, the publicity, the publishing, etc. That's a bad stat, especially when you consider that the average book sells 500 copies.
The average book sells 500 copies.
Yeah,
so now
I'm talking about hard copies. Now, it's hard to tell on Amazon or the ebooks that Barnes & Noble would sell, because there's no reliable statistics. So you've got to do it because you love it. Recognize if you're going to self-publish,
there is an expense,
and you don't have the money to produce hard books, that ebooks, Amazon is probably the best option.
All right. Now, of course, you've got the books. You've got 4 books right now, but one that is in particular, The Devil in the Deal. Yeah. That is a very interesting book there. It looks very interesting. Tell us a little bit about that book.
Oh, that's my best-selling book. You know, traditionally, to be a bestseller, you have to sell 3,000 copies in South Africa.
So you have to sell 3,000 copies in South Africa to be considered as a bestseller.
Best-selling author, yeah. I've sold in the 20s.
Mine are non-fiction,
20,000.
There we go. Don't be noble about the entire thing. Say how many books you've sold. So you've sold 20,000 copies.
I've sold about 25,000 copies.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Not all through bookstores. Because I'm in business, I sell the books as part of what I do. They become textbooks in some cases. So I've had a lot of success because I publish or publicize, not publish, my own books with Random House, Penguin Random House.
And of course now, Kim, for those who are watching, I think, okay, fine, I understand the realities of it, that I might have to take out, you know,
if you want to publish,
if you want to self-publish,
yeah,
or if you want to take it to a publisher and you get that chance and then you get your book published and they take your publicity, how then do I move from then to getting global recognition, so having an international distributor?
Well, the big 5 publishing companies are all global, so they would list it with global publications. And most books nowadays that are in hard form are also in ebook.
Okay.
That's very seldom you'll find a book that's just in the printed form. Yeah. So that influences it as well. So you don't have to do the printed form to get the international recognition. So, if you're a good digital marketer, if you know anything about how, you know, your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, and use that as the vehicle to promote your own books, you can do quite well.
And you can actually
it'll cost you a limited amount other than your time writing the book, because Amazon, the costs are low to list it.
Sure. Now, when it comes to the notion of also looking at the context of South Africa, we're trying to encourage South Africans to read more and young people to be engaged more so that we can develop more authors. What would you say would be the one advice that you give to a South African who's thinking about writing or even feels that reading might just be for losers?
Well, if you don't like reading, you shouldn't write. You know, the two for me go hand in hand. Or find a ghostwriter. If you feel you've got a really compelling story to tell and you're not a good writer, a lot of our best-selling books in this country have been ghostwritten, but we don't know that.
Wow.
So you find a ghostwriter. I get approached quite a lot, but it's not really my thing. You know, I don't believe I'm the best person to do it.
So you can be a ghostwriter? You
can be a ghostwriter. If you love writing, but you don't want to sell, don't want the publicity, go ghost. But if you really want to tell your story and you don't like writing, get a ghostwriter for you.
Kim, thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing us some more insight in terms of how is it that you can become an author in South Africa and market your book internationally as well. We've been speaking to Kim Meredith, South African author, taking us through the process of producing one's own book, and her best copy is The Devil is in the Deal. We're going to